G'day, you're at the lab. Right, so we're not working on the March today. We're doing something different, finally. Let's have a look. The Barina. The Barina's getting a motorbike motor in the back of it and 350Z suspension. Now, looking at the license plate on this thing, which you can't see because it's not here. It's on the front of the car. There's one over there. Can we see the one over there? Oh, no, because there's a ref's in way. Looking at the license plate on this car, we're going to call it Abby. And the reason we're going to call it Abby is because Abby. What do you reckon? I don't know if Steve will be happy with that or not. But hey, Stephen, whatever, Stephen is the name he's using on Facebook, so that'll do. So 350Z suspension, I think I've mentioned this earlier on. That is actually lighter. Well, it feels lighter anyway. I mean, it's bulkier, so that could be a perception thing. But I reckon it's lighter than that lot there. The steel torsion beam. That's steel and quite heavy. That's aluminium and very light. And all this stuff here is not significantly heavier. Motorbike motor. Some sort of Kawasaki contraption. Significantly lighter than Abby's. I quite like that name. Why not? We had Gloria. Let's have Abby. Quite a lot lighter than the look at the mess in here, than the engine that's in there. Anyway, so I have removed stuff and things from the back, as you can see, under here. I don't know if you can see. I'm not looking at the screen. Yeah, there's nothing under there now. It was a few bits of cable and stuff. Somewhere on my messy shelf behind the creeper here is a saber saw. And I'm going to get a hole saw, and I'm going to put some starting points. There's already a few, just depends how much extra cutting I want to do. There's going to be a ginormous hole in the back of here. Now, I'm not going to try and film it. It's noisy and it's awkward. I'm just going to do it, and the next thing we'll see, hopefully, is a ginormous hole in the back here, and then we'll figure out where the subframe's going to go. Now, I've not just decided just to cut. As you can see, I've actually marked out where the centre line of the wheels was. We'll try and put it somewhere near there. It doesn't matter if it's longer. Ideally you wouldn't want it shorter, but you can make it longer. That's okay. There's the original mounting point for the suspension there. So that's a relatively strong piece of the chassis. I use that term loosely. It's quite a little car. They don't make things particularly strong. Unfortunately, that's at the wrong height. So it would end up not as high as it is now on the jack stands, but it would end up being higher than what we want. So, I know, choppy, pretty much the whole thing. It's about here somewhere. And then we've got enough room, we can definitely get our subframe suspension in there with our aftermarket shocks, which I haven't opened the box yet, which I should do and show you those. And leave some of this structure behind. We don't really need to shift that and the outer guard at the moment, but certainly the inner guard. And this whole area that we see here, that's got to go chop. Just like butter. Right, you can see what's going to happen here. Choppy chop. It's a good start. Now I can stand in there and figure out exactly where the rest of the cuts are going to go. This one's quite short of the extremities, obviously. So, more cutting. I might have to do a scrap metal run. RIP blade. You served us well. Oh, that side's chopped out. It was so close. Nearly there. New blade. Have a drink. Carry on. Where did it go? Oh, there it is there. Right. So, most of the way there'll be some more chopping and cutting here and here. And then I can incorporate whatever we're doing at the back here, tag it onto our, they're not chassis rails, our sills. They're kind of strong. I mean, this car isn't particularly great, right? So what have I got here? That'll do. That was airborne, wasn't it? Yeah. So there's not a lot of strength in here because there's not a lot of weight. You don't get a lot of strength without some weight. Dealing with steel, it's not carbon fibre or anything. Next step is to clean the floor. Don't like walking around the swarf and stuff. That was clean, like there was hardly anything here. And look at the mess it's made. Anyway, so, and then we'll get that thing that's over there, the shiny thing right in the middle of your screen. And put some arms on it. And we'll stick it up in this hole here. We might lower the car down so the car's level and at right height. Makes sense, doesn't it? Then possibly some of these Acme part number 1003-4 Mark 5 Blocko wood and plate of steel, trolley jacks, shims, whatever. Sort it all out in the back end here where it's going to sit, and then we can look at what frames we need to make, what structures we need to make to hold that all in there. We'll do some wheel arches because we've got to mount some struts on some shock absorbers on something, so we'll do that. A little bit similar to what we did with the March up there. Look, it's got a flywheel and a clutch on there now. Getting somewhere. Something cool happening tomorrow. Right, let's carry on. We've still got, it's 3 o'clock, a little bit of day left. Didn't start on this till 11, so it's fine. I'll get rid of these straps actually, they're a bit in the way, aren't they? Sort of progress. So as it turns out, they're reasonable height to start with. We can work with that. Just to get a general idea, right? So we've got our axle line there. Accuracy of not a lot. Not a lot of accuracy, but gives us a general idea, right? So and then it doesn't matter too much. There's our hub. It's a little bit wider than what the original rear suspension was, but not a lot. It's like 75 mils or something total width. And if we stick that in the general ballpark, it's hard to get the right angle for you guys so you know exactly what you're looking at. But basically these rear mounts here, we will just sneak those inside this rear panel. You can sort of see that one's hanging out a little bit, but it's not actually in the exact right spot. It's kind of just kicking around, so that's good. It just fits using the standard subframe, not fiddling with it at all, which is probably what we're going to do, so that if he has a little whoopsie and gets the back end out a little bit far and smacks the old black roundy thing with the shiny bit in the middle of it against one of those uppy downy concrete things on the side of the road and obliterates all this, he can just bowl on down to our mates at Nissan King, get some new stuff, bolt it in. No fabricating required, just fix your car just like what you would normally do, apart from if he's managed to rip the chassis mounts or anything like that. So this little piece that I left in the back here for a little bit more strength while I'm fiddling, it's got to go. It's got to be out of the way. I can, without even measuring, I know this needs to be higher than what we've got here. Possibly to about the level of the floor skin there would be about right. So at least remove those chassis rails there. Hardly chassis rails, are they? Little flimsy bits of steel there. Move those out of the way, and then we can get this sitting in a sensible height. Figure everything out from there. Heaps and heaps and heaps of room for the motor. Like you could put literally 3, maybe 4 of those motors in that space that we've got there. So that's no problem. We could put a big one of those. What's in there? We could put that in there. That would be lethal. Right. It's chewing up the time, but that's all right. It's okay. We're getting somewhere. Something's happening. Let's cut some more stuff out, see where that sits. Obviously just sitting there. That's the general idea. Some things to go in to attach the shiny bit to the rest of the car. I didn't, as you can see, I didn't hack that rear section out. I undid all the spot welds and took it off. I want to try and keep that panel there for the bulk of it anyway. He may opt to make some sort of a diffuser thing at the back, but seeing as we're attaching those big things there in this general area, we're going to need to have a decent amount of strength back here, maybe some bars or whatever. We're putting a roll cage in it. We're going to end up with using this flat section here on these suspension arms and putting our shocks on that rather than on here. Or we'll see, I'll do whatever works. Probably on here because it keeps it all lower profile, and that's where the original load points were. This is only dampening, this is holding the weight. So we get those shocks out. They're probably going to end up about that sort of height there. So we'll be able to incorporate the shock absorber mount into the rear bush mount and some sort of a chassis rail type thing going forward to the front. So, not bad for a day's work. We should actually just put that 350Z diff that I've got on there and then make a new trans tunnel and put a V8 in the front of it. Be right, wouldn't it? I don't think that's what the guy has planned for this, so that's not going to happen. Pretty much in the ballpark of where we need to be there, right? So obviously we haven't, there's not even any nuts on these bolts, they're just sitting in there, and the wheel alignment settings and all that, none of that's done. It's just sitting here, but just to give us a general idea of what's happening. Alright, that's us, that'll do. Very cool thing happening with this tomorrow, so watch out for a video. I'll try and make it worthwhile. Something very, very, very good. Alright, cheers, bye.